Welcome to our MyRetreat live retreat. It is Thursday at 8 p.m. here in New York State, and thank you to everybody who is joining us for the next 20 minutes. I am Melissa, the CEO of Chocolate Mindfulness. I am a world traveler, volleyball player, and someone you can't catch imposter syndrome from because I don't have it. Today, we have a very special guest, which of course means every single one of you who are here today. And the one in particular that I am speaking about is the person who's going to share her story about her business and about what we all came here today to do, which I'm very excited for. So, Shruti, will you introduce yourself as people come in, and then we'll go all the way around.
Course. Thank you, Melissa, for having me, and hello to everyone. I'm Shruti Agarwal, and I am the founder of Insight North and co-founder of Ignite HQ. And I started Insight North because I found a huge gap between data and action, and largely in legacy businesses and businesses that are pivoting. Right? There are dashboards and there are well infrastructure put in place. However, the data doesn't really translate into solving decisions for a majority of companies out there, right? And that is where Insight North comes into place. And I'm glad to be here and experience chocolate mindfulness.
Fantastic. Marilyn, bring yourself into our room.
Good evening, everyone. I am calling in from the Cayman Islands, Melissa's other home, and I am the retreat leader of Roam and Restore. We run wellness experiences in nature for women who are tired and who want to be cared for the same way that they care for others. There's a big connection for me between nature and mindfulness, and discovering your own true nature by being in nature. So I'm really, really happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Coach Tim.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me and inviting me. I'm also calling in from the beautiful Grand Cayman. Good to see you on here, Maryland, as well. I am the owner and operator of a company called Live Well Solutions. We focus primarily on providing corporations, governments with extensive, holistic, and comprehensive wellness programming for their employees. But I also have a really big passion for collaborating with others in the wellness space. So I love as much as I can to get out there in the community, do some community wellness things and retreats and all of that. So this is my passion.
Fantastic. I love the C word collaboration. So after this call, I'll definitely be sharing LinkedIn links for everybody who's here so everybody can connect who would like to. Samantha Colson, fresh off the plane from Grand Cayman with us at the most recent retreat. Talk to me. Bring yourself into the room.
Hello, everyone. Samantha Colson. I am based in Rochester, New York. I am the executive director for the New York State Association for Infant Mental Health, and we provide support and guidance for anyone who works with or on behalf of young children and family across New York State and beyond. I also am a co-author for Racialized Reflective Practice, My Hero's Journey, where three of my other colleagues and myself created a workbook, and now we tour around and have workshops and trainings around reflective practice through a racialized lens. So that's a little bit about me.
Beautiful. Jill.
Let's see, does it work? Can you hear me? Yay! Okay. I'm Jill Rothy. I currently live in Denver, kind of from all over. I am, in addition to Melissa's birthday, hostess, which is my favorite part of the year so far. I was at the retreat last year in March with Sam. It was wonderful. And so my role now, I'm a recent corporate escapee as of last year. I have a product in the lactation space called Milkworks, where when we were in Grand Cayman last year, we donated a bunch of my product to local doulas and lactation consultants, which is super fun. And then I started a second company where I do fulfillment for other product-based businesses, both in the US and abroad.
Phenomenal. Ty.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Ty Tolbert. I'm joining you from the Washington, D.C. area. So I'm founder and CEO of Ponder. And Ponder is a leadership development, workforce intelligence company. We partner with organizations and we offer executive coaching, leadership development, training, and measurable people insights and strategies. So I am a certified executive coach and I work with founders and executives, high performing leaders, just to really get the best out of them, if you will. I help most of my clients are looking to get to the next level, and I dabble in what I call mental architecture. So beliefs, habits, and things that you're currently maintaining at a sustainability level and help unlock or open up the capacity for you to do more, be more. So that's job one. Job two, I'm also founder of Presence. So Presence is, I'm building it currently. It's brand new, and it's a fashion tech identity wardrobe platform for women in power who lead. We're launching this summer. So I've always intersected at the crossroads of leadership and success, and now I'm also helping women show up better with clothing.
Yes, yes. And on that note, I'm going to ask everyone to close your eyes or lower your gaze for a guided imagery practice. As we set our intention to think more clearly, let's create the conditions for clear thinking. Take a slow breath in through your nose and gently exhale. Many of us spend our days making decisions. Some are small. Others feel as though they could change the direction of our business, our careers, or even our lives. The challenge isn't always a lack of information. Sometimes it's a lack of space. Space to pause, to notice, to think before reacting. I invite you to ask yourself this question: what important decisions have I been trying to force when what I really need is clarity? What important decision have I been trying to force when what I really need is clarity? As you listen for the response, remember that not every decision requires more speed. Sometimes the next right answer arrives when we create enough stillness to recognize it. When you're ready, gently open your eyes, recognizing that we are in space with phenomenal humans. And the one who I'm about to hand the mic to is Shruti Agarwal, the founder of Insight North, a decision intelligence and growth advisory helping founders and leaders get more clarity before their next move. She holds a master's in business analytics from UT Dallas and spent years in the US working on analytics engagements for brands like Lenovo, Kava, and Sunoco before returning home to Hyderabad, India, to build Insight North from the ground up. She recently co-founded Ignite HQ, India's first cohort-based ecosystem for making women formidable. In her spare time, Shruti writes Founders Compass, a weekly newsletter on sharp decision-making for founders, and hosts Day One Signal, a readcast of moral stories for adults. Shruti, we're all ears to hear your story.
Thank you. I'm really glad to know everyone who's here and see what they're building. And I wanted to share about how I started with my work at Insight North and Ignite HQ. I was working with a company called Level Wing and now Mind Groove as a business analyst, where I really saw how we could use data and data science largely into helping make better decisions, right? And then I made the decision to make the move to India to start from scratch. And when I built Insight North, it was after months of conversations with different founders across geographies and understanding where the real pain point is. And I had to connect it to what my strength lies in, and that is analytics and decision intelligence. And I really found that all founders, either there are two spaces, either there is a lot of data since quite a few years, and they've not been able to put it to use, right? And that's what the Indian landscape looks like. However, abroad, it's more so having the data and yet not being able to categorize the problem into a particular bucket, right? Either it's an analytics problem or marketing problem. Um, for an example, clients generally come by knowing that there is something off, right? Like sales are flat or marketing doesn't feel right, right? The decision is stuck for a long time, but they can't translate into which service would solve it. And that is where I would like to highlight one of the services I do is the fix, right? So the fix is where when they come with a goal or a point or a question, I diagnose it about what's actually broken. And then, which, and the funny part there is what's actually broken is not what the founders really think is the main problem. And then create a curated solution for them from all the resources that they have and looking outside from the customer point of view, right? And that's pretty much about, I would say, the fix. However, building Insight North has been a great experience, and it's still growing. And recently, I co-founded Ignite HQ. I saw this huge gap for women in tech where they couldn't speak up. Myself being one of them earlier, couldn't speak up, couldn't really show my value when I'm in the room. And such things such as soft skills play an important role in career growth, besides just the core aspect of what your role requires. And then we went ahead to start Ignite HQ. That is a 20 women cohort, each cohort based ecosystem where we have masterclasses from experts and champions in space of personal branding, networking, and uh, communication skills that helps women grow across the 8 weeks that they're a part of our cohort for. And I'm really glad I'm able to share my story here because I really think there is a lot of fun and in the science of decision intelligence that helps solve real world problems for companies. And I'm glad to do so.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Now, one of the best parts about chocolate mindfulness is having some tangible takeaways, things that we can actually implement starting today, right? So, what's something that you can share with us that we could utilize in our professional lives moving forward?
Definitely. Here is, I will be sharing my link. This is a Gumroad link, and this link will let everyone have access to quite a few ebooks. One of them, which is, I'm sorry, yeah, quite a few ebooks. Now, these ebooks, I have created them after having experienced such issues, as in how to prepare for my first client, right? How to actually create a website that's working and I'm not spending too much time on it. And there are two workbooks that are essentially on two different business models because nowadays I've seen, especially in the US, many people want to start their membership circles, right? So, how do you actually go about those membership circles? And one resource on that link that is complimentary is called the 4 clocks. Now, like most of us here who are managing multiple things, and we don't get to essentially divide our time properly across the number of things we have to do on our to-do list. So the 4 clocks is a framework I created to give time and space to the different categories of work that we have, be it a professional work or work that will compound over time and give you results later, or any creative spurs that come out during the day, and then when you want to really focus on something creative. So I would invite all of you to please check out the link, and I hope these frameworks help.
Amazing. So now I'd love to open the floor to anyone who wants to ask Shruti some questions. We'll either stay on a couple minutes to eat chocolate, or you all know how to eat chocolate on your own. So let's let's ask any questions that you might have, please.
Shruti, thank you so much for that. Can you tell us what do you see as either the top three or the main issue that women founders face?
Sure. Thank you, Marilyn. I think the first main issue, if I start with, is actually asking, right? Because one of my first clients was the one who wanted to talk to me about leadership coaching, that being one of the auxiliary of what I do. Um, and she has been in the corporate space working with Apple, Microsoft for around 15 years plus. And she started her own event intelligence platform here in India. And she is not confident enough when she has to go and talk to an investor, or go to a client and pitch her product, right? And she fumbles, and there are many things that come into the picture in the meeting. And the problem is that we don't understand that there are only two things that actually make or break a deal. That is a person's warmth and competence, right? So the problem, I mean, that's the answer. The problem being that we overthink and we consider 10 to 12 different things when actually going and asking for either investment fund or else pitching our product, because that will lead to revenue, right? So that one is the first, and I think the major problem. And besides that, I think in spaces that there is lack of collaboration or geographical, I would say, locations as such. Um, for example, here in India, when I came back and I was looking for a group where I could really talk with founders and on a day-to-day basis, right? And maybe meet them once a month or something, there was nothing like that for me. And if it was, they're very different levels, like students starting out to be founders right now during college. Now, I would like to learn from someone, or collaborate with someone who is a few years into their journey, right? And then I came back, I started a small WhatsApp group for the different founders that we have here. And we plan to meet every few months, helping each other, give business to each other, and also learn from one another mistakes. So I think those are essentially the two spaces. Yeah.
Excellent. So I believe in sticking to a schedule. So for those who need to leave, it's been 20 minutes. I thank you. Please reward yourself with a small piece of chocolate for taking this time to get together in community, and of course, experiencing a 20-minute guided imagery experience. I did put in the chat for any other questions to come through. So as Shruti is available to answer, or perhaps answer afterwards, we'll make sure to connect you to her. As you're dropping those questions in the chat, I want to announce our next big things for Chocolate Mindfulness. I will be heading in a pop-up to San Francisco on July 31st. So if you are based there, or if you know someone who is, please share. It's on LinkedIn, and happy to share the Eventbrite link with everyone. I'll also be in Seattle in August too. So if you're in or near Seattle, would love to connect with you there. So Shruti, do you have a couple more minutes for those who had some additional questions?
Of course, yeah.
Fantastic. So I'll let you read from the chat and answer away. And again, for those who need to move on to the next part of your evening, thank you so much for being here, and know that you are each invited, because I know everyone on this call personally, to join me as a featured speaker on a future Chocolate Mindfulness live retreat like this. So before you take us home, Shruti, if everybody could smile who's willing to be in the photo. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. All right, take good care for those who need to head out. And Shruti, I'll mute myself.
Hi, Tor. Thank you for being a part of this call. And what I would optimize for, should I read out the questions so that everyone else knows as well? Okay. So the question is, if you were building a community for ambitious women today, what behaviors would you optimize for first? And I think I have one directed answer at that, which is um, I the word for it might be a little wrong, but what I mean to say is honesty in the fact of admitting that we can be weak at a few things, right? Because we as ambitious women always try to show the best part of ourselves and not really open up to showing what's weak in me, right? And we need to be that transparent is the word. That transparency should exist in the whole community so that we know that we can learn from one another. And this is a safe space of building on the places where you cannot, where you're not good at already, or seeking help as a collaborator from someone in the community. Um, and the second question is what signals tell you a community is becoming part of someone's routine instead of just another app they've just signed up for? I love this. Thank you. Because I think about it a lot and I've seen coming back, India has been growing a lot in the space of tech. So I see like there are hundreds of tech communities, right? And I'll tell you what it looks like. Hundreds of tech communities, and each of them have hundreds of people coming into their events that they host in person, but they have 1,000 followers plus. But when I see the impact, there is nothing. One person meeting you at the first event will not know if they've met you in the 10th event or second event, let alone the 10th, right? So what signals that it's actually growing and it's part of someone's routine? It's number one, the number of people that are part of the community. The more smaller, the better. And second is people actually initiating conversation in that, be it a group or an application anywhere, right? People actually trying to seek and provide help to others. I'll give you another example. I'm a part of this Discord group for people working in the space of AI. And I think it's just 25 members. But whenever someone has posted a question or something new that's come up with a new tool, we all kind of, either respond to it or react to it. And it's actually a 70% or higher number every time, every message. So I hope that answers. Yeah. Marilyn, you asked what guiding principle would you recommend to support the success of a group for women founders? Okay. I would go in line with transparency a lot. However, I think it would also be um, being open to getting back to what I answered earlier, being open to ask, because that is honestly the largest problem that I have noticed, right? Because of our boundaries of multiple personal, I would say, aspects and ego, or the fact that you can't ask, seeking help, that does not exist. And that is the hardest, right? So I would say camaraderie and transparency.
Phenomenal. So with that, we'll be sure to share the best way to connect with you. I will, as I said before, put together all of our LinkedIn profiles so that people can reach out to one another. And I thank you so much for being here. So with that, we'll conclude with a small piece of chocolate. Go ahead and join me by taking your chocolate or whatever you have to mindfully taste. And it's okay if you don't have something. Hold it in the palm of your hand, noticing its weight. Look at the colors, the textures, the shape and size, areas of dullness and shine, and what to the untrained eye might look like an imperfection, yet there is no such thing in chocolate. Bring that chocolate up to your lips, noticing any changes that may be happening in your mouth as you take in 3 deep breaths. And when you're ready, go ahead tasting your chocolate, rolling it from side to side across your taste buds, and savoring its flavor. We use chocolate because it's the most delicious way I know of habit stacking to reward yourself for taking time to take care of you, whether that's through wellness practices or for your mind, for learning something new and making new connections. So I thank everyone for being here. I will end now by saying next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m. is our next live retreat. So I look forward to seeing you then. Take good care.